An innocent girl and the son of Turkey's richest man walk down the aisle. Nalan thinks she's married the love of her life, that salvation is finally within reach. Little does she know, this man is the one who will drag her into hell. The wedding has barely ended when Sedat darts to the restroom to sleep with his lover. By coincidence, his mother comes in to pee. Hearing two voices she knows all too well and the door thudding, she instantly realizes what's happening. Ashamed and enraged, she runs out. Mrs. Koroglu had wanted to confess her son's lechery to her husband, but he's overjoyed that their son married such a wonderful girl. She can't bring herself to ruin his mood. The two emerge from the restroom after their tryst, thinking they've pulled it off without a soul knowing. What they don't see is Mama hiding behind the wall, watching everything. Once they part, she storms up to Kana, yanks her by the hair, and screams insults about her shamelessness. "Stay away from my daughter's husband, or I'll make you regret it." But Kana long ago cast aside notions of decency. Since Mama has humiliated her like this, she'll make sure Nalan pays for it tenfold. Sedat hurries back to his room, eager to be intimate with his new wife. Seeing how innocent and lovely she looks, he can't wait to kiss her. At first, Nalan manages to tolerate it. But when he starts to unzip her dress, her mind floods with images of Mama's fierce face and her warnings. She shoves Sedat away at once, saying she needs to find her mother, and flees the room as if escaping an execution ground. Sedat is left staring, bewildered. Nalan was raised by Mama to avoid all contact with men, even holding hands was forbidden. This extreme mindset has seeped into every cell, making physical intimacy an instinctive repulsion. Nalan works up the courage to knock on Mama's door, begging her to save her. But Mama refuses without mercy. "Didn't you marry Sedat willingly? Now you're a wife with a new family. Don't expect me to help you ever again." Nalan tearfully pounds on the door, begging to be let in. Though Mama's heart is breaking, she clings to the doorknob, refusing to open it. She's doing this to force Nalan to grow independent, to break her reliance. After all, she's getting old. She can't be by Nalan's side forever. There are things Nalan must learn to handle alone. Nalan returns to her room in despair and sits at the foot of the bed all night. When Sedat wakes, he apologizes, assuming his drunkenness is why their wedding night never came to fruition. Nalan is embarrassed and ducks into the bathroom with her clothes to change. Nalan fumbles frantically with the bra clasp, but can't fasten it. It's her first time touching a bra in 25 years. Her mother never taught her how to wear one. Just then, her husband steps up behind her and fixes it. His skillful movements make it obvious he's done this for plenty of other women before. Afterward, the newlyweds head downstairs to greet everyone and join them for breakfast. Sedat thoughtfully places a piece of meat on his wife's plate. Nalan, out of habit, glances at Mama, then moves the meat to the side, daring to eat only tomatoes and cucumbers. Mr. Koroglu urges that now that they are married, it's time to give him a grandchild soon. Sedat doesn't answer directly. Instead, he shifts the focus to his sister. "She got married before me, and she still hasn't had kids." Nalan shoots him an annoyed look. However, Mama also presses them about having children, asking Nalan what happened the night before. Nalan timidly says she's not ready yet. Noticing her discomfort in the bra, her first time wearing one, Mama adjusts the straps on her back, telling her to learn to adapt to this new life. When breakfast ends, Nalan says a reluctant goodbye to her parents. From now on, she's officially leaving her family to live with Sedat and will have to fend for herself. Brimming with joy, Sedat leads Nalan out of the car and introduces her to the servants and the villa. He plays the part of the perfect husband, using all his charm to make Nalan fall for him. But the moment Sedat leaves the room, Nalan rushes straight to the bathroom. It's the first time she's ever bathed alone. She copies the nanny's way of lathering soap on a towel, scrubbing her body fiercely, convinced she's dirty that she shouldn't have let Sedat touch her. Nalan can't shake the ideas Mama drilled into her over the years. She feels helpless and terrified. Meanwhile, Mrs. Koroglu finds her son and scolds him harshly. "I know what you did with Kana in that bathroom. It was disgusting. How can you do this to such a kind, wonderful wife? Have you forgotten your father almost threw you out of the house?" Seeing his mother's heartbreak, Sedat swears he'll never go near Kana again. Mama decides to trust him one last time, warning that if he gets tangled up with Kana again, she'll cut off their mother-son relationship for good. Sedat then finds Nalan and suggests taking her to a beach party later. But at the mention of it, Nalan's heart begins to pound with fear. Mama had never let her wear revealing clothes, so she couldn't find a single swimsuit in the women's section that felt right. In the end, Mama picked out a pair of men's baggy trunks and an oversized swimsuit for her, and even made her wear a girdle underneath. She'd wanted Nalan to learn to swim as a survival skill, but to keep others from seeing her skin, Mama had dragged Nalan to the pool every morning at 6 a.m. to practice. If any man came near, she'd immediately make Nalan get out, wrap her up tightly, and yell at the men, calling them rapists. In the afternoon, Sedat takes his fully covered wife to the island to attend his friend's party. It's Nalan's first time seeing the sea and stepping into such a wild, wealthy social circle. When Sedat suggests taking off their coats and going swimming together, Nalan is instinctively afraid. She can only stammer, lying that she doesn't know how to swim. While everyone else is carousing and dancing to the music, Nalan sits all alone on a bench, left out in the cold. To avoid being seen as an anomaly, she intends to strike up a conversation with others under the pretext of ordering juice. Unexpectedly, she catches sight of Kana again. Kana greets Nalan with feigned enthusiasm and brings her friends over to Nalan's side. She chatters about interesting stories from her past with Sedat, aiming to deliberately make others say snub Nalan, letting her know that if she can't fit into his circle, she shouldn't force her way in. Nalan knows deep down that she's ultimately an outsider. Dejected, she finds an excuse to go to the restroom. However, this scheming Kana still doesn't let her off. She arranges for two women to speak loudly outside the restroom door. Sedat's wife is beautiful, but she's not attractive. She looks pale and can't hold a candle to Sedat's ex. Their relationship won't last long. This makes the already insecure Nalan even more timid and shrinking. After the party, Nalan helps the drunk Sedat back home. Since Sedat were too little, his back got sunburned under the scorching sun, so he asks Nalan to apply lotion for him. Having never touched a man's body before, Nalan is panics. Fortunately, Sedat, dead drunk, falls asleep. The next day is Nalan's return visit to her parents' home. At the table, Mama keeps prying information out of them. When she learns that her daughter still hasn't consummated the marriage 3 days after the wedding, Mama finds an excuse to call Nalan into the kitchen. She interrogates Nalan why she's still a virgin and urges her to have a child soon. Otherwise, people will think her daughter is defective, bringing shame to their family. While Sedat is playing chess with Dad, Mama stares at him intently from the side. She thinks Nalan is definitely fine. Could it be that her son-in-law is still pining for someone else and deliberately neglecting Nalan in bed? When she sees Sedat leave midway, Mama immediately follows him. She confronts Sedat, asking why he still hasn't consummated the marriage with Nalan. She's a pure woman with no experience. You have to take the initiative to fulfill your duties as a husband. The mother-in-law's words shatter Sedat's values. He believes that Nalan's wishes should be respected. One can't force things, and they should let nature take its course. Nalan, noticing that neither of them has returned for a long time, gets up to look for them. Mama orders Sedat to sleep with Nalan tonight, even if he has to force her. If Nalan hadn't heard it with her own ears, she would never have believed that such words could come from the prim and proper Mama. Listening to Mama keep pressuring Sedat, Nalan steps forward to interrupt her. But Mama shows no sign of embarrassment. Instead, she says it's for Nalan's own good. Otherwise, people will laugh at her for being defective, and her husband will get bored and abandon her. She warns Nalan that she must complete this task that night, or else she'll do it herself. At this moment, Nalan finally realizes that Mama is the root cause of her pain. On the way back, Sedat keeps comforting the gloomy Nalan, telling her not to feel guilty or ashamed about this. Mama is just expressing her love in her own way. To help her forget the unpleasantness, Sedat takes her to ride a yacht. He tells Nalan that he bought it secretly behind his father's back. If his father knew he was spending money so recklessly, he'd definitely get a beating. Nalan is amused, remarking that he's really a handful. When she sees the bed in the cabin, Nalan's mind keeps replaying Mama's orders. After a struggle in her thoughts, Nalan takes the initiative to kiss her husband. Her unexpected behavior makes Sedat's eyes light up, but he knows it's because Nalan is influenced by Mama, so he stops. He reassures her, you don't have to force yourself to do something you don't want to. When we're both ready, it'll be enjoyable. This is between us, we don't have to care what others say. Sedat's words finally lift the long-standing weight from Nalan's heart. She's grateful to have such a considerate and gentle husband. On the first day after the honeymoon, Nalan gets up early, dresses herself up beautifully, and prepares to go back to the company to work. Unfortunately, when she mentions this to Mr. Koroglu, she is met with refusal. Mr. Koroglu states that as the new daughter-in-law of the nation's richest family, her every word and action is watched and monitored. If someone with such an identity still goes out to work, the family will definitely be gossiped about. Her current top priority is to have a child to bring honor to the family. Nalan is in a bad mood but acquiesces. She thinks that maybe after completing the task of passing on the family line, she will be free to go to work. Later, she goes to the company to pack her things and prepare to resign. As Mr. Koroglu says, everyone who sees her bows and scrapes, fawning over her excessively. This makes Nalan very uncomfortable. She had thought that getting rid of Mama would mean gaining freedom, but she never expects that she has just moved from one cage to another. In the blink of an eye, a month passes and Mama still hasn't received news of Nalan being pregnant. The domineering Mama decides to take matters into her own hands. That night, Mama calls Nalan and urges her to complete the task that evening. She also demands that Nalan open the curtains of the room and not turn off the lights. These strange requests leave Nalan deeply confused. Mama spies on her daughter and son-in-law's room through a telescope, intent on watching a live show of them having sex. Nalan trembles uncontrollably at the sight. She never could have imagined that her mother would be so insane. Just then, Muzo goes out to run an errand. Looking up, he notices that Nalan by the window seems to have seen something terrifying. Following her gaze to the opposite building, he is shocked beyond words. Muzo knows that Mama is very strict with Nalan, but he never thinks it will reach such a perverted level. Nalan forces a smile and tells Sedat that she is fully prepared that day. Sedat is overjoyed to hear this. After playing the role of a good husband for so long, this is what he's been waiting for. Nalan deliberately leads him to the window, wanting to give Mama an explanation. Little does she know that her brother-in-law is also watching the live broadcast. Nalan stands there like a puppet, letting Sedat's lips brush over her skin. However, Mama's teachings and insults keep echoing in her mind. Nalan suddenly convulses and begging for forgiveness. This startles Sedat. Nalan doesn't know how to explain, so she just keeps shaking her head and flees to the bathroom, crying bitterly. Sedat asks her to come out and talk things through, but Nalan only feels that she is dirty and keeps washing her hands. Sedat's anger surges. He hasn't forced her, he has only started after getting her permission. Why is she now treating him like a monster? He feels like he's been played for a fool and has had enough. Seeing that Nalan has failed again, Mama is furious, complaining that she is incompetent and stupid. At that moment, Muzo knocks on the door and confronts Mama. Why you're doing such perverted things? Mama claims that she is doing it all for Nalan's good and even tries to get Muzo to join her in helping Nalan. Muzo thinks this is utterly absurd and demands that Mama move out immediately. Annoyed by his wife who keeps ruining the mood, Sedat finds Kana to vent, sighing that marriage is so boring. But before he can say much, Mama arrives. She slaps Sedat hard across the face and shouts insults at him, calling him shameless despite his fancy appearance, cheating on her daughter behind her back. Then she turns on Kana, hurling the most vicious insults imaginable. She warns them that if there is a next time, she will make sure they won't live to see another day. Humiliated, Kana vows to make Nalan's family pay double for this. Sedat returns to the room and apologizes to Nalan, saying he is the one in the wrong and begging for her forgiveness. Nalan's heart is filled with unspeakable suffering. The next day, Selin asks Nalan out for coffee, wanting to chat openly about marriage and the future. As soon as they step out of the cafe, they're swarmed by a crowd of reporters. The reporters bombarded Nalan with questions, demanding to know if she'd rushed into marriage because she was pregnant. Selin hurries to pull Nalan away. Nalan initially has no desire to argue with them, but the reporters keep pressing, refusing to let her go. Annoyed, Nalan blurts out in a fit of pique, "Everything you say is right." This impulsive remark brings her a disaster of catastrophic proportions. That night, news of Nalan's shameful secret, pregnant before marriage, rushing to wed in desperation, hits the headlines, causing a huge stir across the city. This enrages Mr. Koroglu, who values chastity and reputation above all else. He abandons his usual gentle demeanor and, for the first time, erupts into a furious tirade at Nalan, blaming her for bringing shame to the family's generations of honor and ruining the clan. Nalan never imagines her unintended mistake could lead to such severe consequences. She tries to explain, but Mr. Koroglu gives her no chance, scolding her for only knowing how to cry all day. The family members rush to defend her, saying there's no need to pay attention to these false reports. But Mr. Koroglu, having lost his senses, lashes out at everyone in sight, yelling at whoever crosses his path. Mrs. Koroglu can't stand it anymore. She snaps at him to shut up and get out, telling him not to hurt the children. Mr. Koroglu is stunned. His wife, who's always been timid and shrinking in his presence, is no longer silent. Mr. Koroglu goes alone to his family's hotel. He can't accept that the daughter-in-law he personally chose has a stain, nor can he bear his wife's defiance. He goes to the restroom to splash water on his face, trying to stay calm. But his pent-up anger triggers a sudden fainting spell. He collapses to the floor. Fortunately, a cleaner who's cleaning nearby finds him in time and rushes him to a private hospital. After an examination, the doctor says the extreme agitation has caused angina. She advises Mr. Koroglu to stop worrying so much and keep his emotions steady. The cleaner, Harry, intends to inform his family, but Mr. Koroglu flatly refuses. He doesn't want the matter to escalate further and attract more gossip. Harry, worried about him, stays behind to tend to him with meticulous care. On the other side, Mrs. Koroglu firmly believes Nalan isn't an unchaste woman and is determined to clear her name. She secretly calls Javet for help, a powerful figure with connections in both legal and illegal circles, and also a suitor of Mrs. Koroglu. When his beloved woman needs help, Javet tracks down the sensationalist reporter in no time. Whoever dares to slander a powerful family must have a mastermind behind them. Under Javet's coercion, the reporter spills everything. It's all Kana's doing. She'd spent a fortune hiring reporters to ruin Nalan's reputation. Mrs. Koroglu is absolutely livid. She tells her son everything and warns him to stay away from Kana, otherwise the entire family will be doomed. Sedat can't believe Kana would do such a thing. He hurries to call her to ask, but Kana ignores him, staying at home with a smirk, relishing the drama as it unfolds. With Kana not replying to messages or answering calls, Sedat is now convinced she's the one behind it all. He's overwhelmed with guilt. How could he have chosen to trust a viper over his kind-hearted wife? Meanwhile, Kana's husband accidentally catches a glimpse of these calls and flirtatious text messages. He finally realizes he might be being cheated on. He grabs Kana's arm and demands to know if she's having an affair with Sedat. Kana vehemently denies it, blaming her husband for being crazy and claiming she only sees Sedat as a brother. Her husband doesn't believe her. Can a brother and sister chat about such cheesy, intimate things? Do you take me for a fool? Enraged, he throws Kana out of the house, warning her to stay away and not corrupt their children. With nowhere else to go, Kana checks into a room at the Koroglu family's hotel. The next day, under pressure from the gang, the reporter publicly admits that the story about Nalan has been maliciously edited to slander her and sincerely apologizes to the victim. Mr. Koroglu feels overwhelming guilt upon seeing this, realizing he has wronged his daughter-in-law. But too proud to swallow his pride, he cannot bear to face Nalan or his family. So Harry takes him back to his own home. There, Mr. Koroglu accidentally spots a gift box, the very one he once gave to the person who found Nalan's bracelet. It turns out that hours before the wedding, Kana secretly visited Nalan to provoke her. She gave Nalan a bracelet identical to the one Sedat had given her, flaunting her intimacy with Sedat. Repulsed, Nalan flushed the bracelet down the toilet that night. Unexpectedly, Harry found the expensive bracelet while cleaning the bathroom the next day. Instead of keeping it for himself, Harry asked the manager to return it to Nalan, leaving no name. When Mr. Koroglu asks about it, Harry frankly states that taking something that does not belong to him would be theft. This honesty wins Mr. Koroglu's deepening favor and trust. Before long, Nalan and Sedat knock on the door. They hat Mr. Koroglu down and come to take him home. Nalan feels a sense of familiarity with Harry, but cannot place him until she notices the red blanket in the corner. On her wedding night, terrified of consummating the marriage with her husband, Nalan ran to her mother's door begging for help, only to be rejected. As she broke down in tears, a cleaner kindly draped a red blanket over her. Now, Nalan realizes that the person who comforted her that night is Harry. Nalan apologizes to Mr. Koroglu, acknowledging her own faults, and urges him to come home. The prideful Mr. Koroglu recognizes this as his daughter-in-law offering him an olive branch, so he agrees to return. Who would not cherish such a thoughtful woman? Yet Sedat, far from grateful to Harry for saving his father, accuses him of kidnapping Mr. Koroglu to extort money. Harry, out of respect for Nalan, lets it slide. Nalan thanks Harry before leaving, a stark contrast to Sedat's hostility. At this point, neither of them can imagine then that their connection will run far deeper than mere chance encounters. After reassuring her father-in-law, Nalan goes back to her mother's home, hoping to seek Mama's forgiveness. The day before, upon seeing the news of Nalan admitting she married because of pregnancy, Mama, who values chastity more than life itself, was in a towering rage. She completely broke down, repeatedly slapping her own forehead. It was only because Dad kept comforting and reasoning with her that she did not do something extreme. Faced with Nalan's apology, Mama does not accept it right away. "If you want my forgiveness," she says, "you must get pregnant with Sedat's child. Otherwise, I'll cut off all ties with you as mother and daughter, and when I die, I don't want you to come to my funeral either." Staring at her mother's unyielding face, Nalan feels immense pressure. She needs to find a way to conceive quickly. That evening, Nalan buys an elegant piece of lingerie. He calls Sedat, saying she has a surprise waiting for him when he gets back. But Sedat is swamped with work and says he will be staying at the hotel that night. Nalan dresses up meticulously and goes to the hotel front desk to ask for Sedat's room number. The receptionist tries to call Sedat to inform him, but Nalan stops her. She wants it to be a surprise. Meanwhile, Kana, who is staying at the same hotel, hears from her friend that Sedat is spending the night there alone. She uses some underhanded means to get a key card to Sedat's room. Coincidentally, Nalan has just gotten one from the front desk too. One after the other, the two women enter the same room. What follows is sure to be quite the spectacle. This is Maroon Recap. Check out my homepage and you'll see more recaps of Camdaki Kiz. I'm hastening to write and edit the next recap, so feel free to leave a comment and share your thoughts. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.